Hello, everybody. It's 1 o'clock Mountain Time, and this is Brandon Clayman. We are excited to deliver in an hour a webinar on social media marketing. We're going to share with you a whole bunch of best practices. Our awesome partner, you can see, her name is Tessa May Marr, and she is from Marr Media Group. And they do all things social, which was great. And then on my side, we have Jordan Gardner and myself, Brandon Clayman, who are going to be working on the website engagements piece. So it's like a two-in-one. And keep in mind that this content is also constant contact content. So thank you for supplying that. We've added a few extra things as well. Here's what we're going to go over today in this hour. We're going to try and be as focused as we can. We're going to figure out what networks are going to work best for you. So how to choose the right networks, how to get some traction on those social networks. And then, of course, we're going to talk about some paid advertising. It's basically a requirement now, and you'll learn more about that later. And then last but not least, but when you get website traffic, what do you do with it? And how do we create engagement on your website? And then, of course, Q&A. If anybody has any questions at any time, please reach out. This is all for you. We're here for you. Be our student. We'll be the teacher, and we'll absolutely give you everything we can within the time that we have. For those who are existing clients, you will get a copy of the presentation. For those who are not, well, there's an incentive for you to become a client. I've been around digital for 25 years, guys, sold to the White House, Yale, Harvard, SFU, IBM. You can tell I've said that a lot. We are Constant Contact's #1 partner worldwide. Nobody else is close to us. We've been around for 15 years with Constant Contact. We're very, very focused, very successful, very responsive. We love what we do. Some of the things we do at Conscious Commerce are website design and managed services. Next slide. Managed services, we do things like search engine optimization we do paid advertising with Google. So we're partnering with all of these companies. You'll learn more about some cool new products today as well. There's no crazy hardcore sales pitch. We do have a special offer for you. But again, we're not interested in doing any hard selling. It's not our business model. We don't care about that. Been around too long. And that's basically it. So let's hand it over to Tessa to drive the social media part of this presentation.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brandon. And thanks again for putting this together and having us today. I'm really excited to chat with all of you. And yeah, like Brandon said, I'd like to echo, if you have any questions throughout, we want this to be interactive. We want this to be of value to you. So just pop them in the chat. Kyan from my team is paying close attention there, and we can make sure that we get those answered for you throughout or at the end for sure. So this is me, obviously. I'm the CEO of Marr Media Group. We're a social media agency, been around for just over 6 years, all virtual and remote. We've got a team of 6 all together right now, and we work with over 20 different brands on an ongoing basis to kind of plug into their team and handle everything social for them. So that's us in a nutshell, and let's see what we can teach you today. So first and foremost, the reason we're here is social media can help you grow. I imagine most of you believe this already, but if not, I'm going to convince you, and here's some stats to help do it. I can tell you from the analytics that we see month over month, we see anywhere from 3 to 50% increases in our social audiences. So those are all new top of funnel leads that are learning about your brand through social. We actually just published a case study about how one simple social media post, a contest, actually doubled an audience for one of our clients. That's it. That's all we did. So we'll actually drop a link to that case study if you want to take a peek at it. It's really interesting, and of course, as you can imagine, she was really happy about it. So great results there. That's all top of funnel. Then if you look at the other end of the funnel, we've got social media driving conversions as well. We have a couple clients who spend about $5,000 a month on paid social, and we've driven up to $450,000 in revenue for those clients. So that's a really great return. They're really happy with that. We've got another client we've been working with for only 6 months, and we have sales up 213% already. So social works. It really, really does. In addition to that, social just isn't optional anymore. It isn't. And I think if there's anything that we learned as marketers and business owners in 2020 is that we need to be showing up online. We need a digital presence. Sometimes in person isn't an option. And there's lots of other pros around that too. This is where customers are going to find you. This is where they're doing their research and learning about, and then making purchases as well. It's all happening there. So we need to be figuring out how we can actually show up online. We've definitely seen, lots of the brands we work with do even better this year in 2020 because they have such a strong online presence and they've invested there. So we'll discuss, today some of the reasons and ways that people can find you that way. You can influence people. I don't know about you, but I rely on social networks probably more than I should for making my decisions. Anybody else do that? Put your hands up. You know, when I'm thinking about making a decision, I need to consult with people. The stats tell us that 37% of consumers purchasing decisions are actually influenced or inspired by their friend's social media feed. Social media is the new word of mouth, and in this format, word travels a lot quicker. This is another really great point. This is actually particularly relevant for the not-for-profit clients that we work with. For one of them, actually, we grew their audience by 5,000% in the 4 years that we've been working with them, and they have the highest engagement rate I have ever seen in my career. All super targeted, really, really relevant people in their audience. We've also driven over $14,000 in donations for them as well. So kind of another angle there. We also just brought in another client that runs a not-for-profit event every year. So they hired us to take all that good work that they're doing in the 90 minutes and stretch it across a year through social media. It's exciting, and like I said, it works. So now that I've got you convinced of its power, let's look at 3 ways that social can help you grow. First and foremost, awareness. So people need to find you, and they need to see that you're interacting with people to know that you're a trustworthy business. This is, you know, where a lot of that decision making comes from with them. The more people that know about you, the more likely they are to purchase from you. So that is step 1. And another interesting thing to note here is traditional marketing often stops here. When we think about, you know, I always say back in the day, marketing was all billboards and bus advertisements, and that made sense because everybody was walking around looking up. If you've ever noticed people walking down the street, where are they looking now? They're looking down at their devices. So a little bit of a safety hazard, but you know, we need to pay attention to that as marketers. So how do we get in front of their face? It definitely looks a little bit different than it did back in the day. Second piece, customer service. Super important in today's world. About 45% of consumers visit social media as one of the first channels that they go to when they have questions or issues. So you better be there and you better be listening and ready to respond. Those who receive good customer service are likely to spend 20% more with your business and are 30% more likely to recommend your brand. This is also a great spot to use customer service in one of 2 ways. Number 1, when you have customers that love your brand and are really happy with everything, you want to nurture that. You want to continue to get them to share reviews and their experience and reshare that out to the audience to help them do the selling for you. On the flip side of things, if we have customers who are complaining about us online, that is also something that's very, very valuable to us. They could be doing that complaining behind our backs, and we don't get the opportunity to see and hear what their experience is. But as business owners, we should care about that. We should thank them for giving us that insight, whether they're right or wrong. And in addition to that, other people are going to see that. So rather than being afraid, get in there right away, respond to them, make sure that they are acknowledged and that you make some kind of an attempt to rectify the situation. I always recommend kind of taking it offline if possible at that point in time, but you want to have some kind of public response because everyone else is going to see that too. They're going to see that you're the type of brand that when things go wrong, you show up and you try and rectify it. And that matters to people. And thirdly, action. Ultimately, we want to get people to take some kind of action. It might be to buy something. It might be to read one of our blogs, book a demo, follow you on social media to stay tuned in, register for an event, donate to a cause. Whatever that action is, we want to be really specific. So this is my key advice here. Tell people exactly what you want them to do. Don't assume that they're going to get it. If they see a link, don't assume they're going to click it. Tell them, click this link, read here, or read on. That stuff's really important, and we've really seen that really specific messaging make a big difference in getting people to do what you want them to do. So now that we know why, let's figure out where you should be. Question I get all the time: do I need to be on every social media platform? The answer is no, you absolutely do not need to be on every single platform. So then next question, where do I need to be? That's going to be a different answer for every brand or business out there. And the question I would pose back to that is, well, where is your target market? That's where we have to start ultimately. So I'd love to hear from everyone that we have here. We've got quite a few attendees today. Tell me in the chat, what platforms are you guys currently on? Just post it through to the chat. I'd love to kind of see where everybody is at this point in time. Interesting. Okay, a bit of a mix.
Got some response coming in here, a little bit of Insta, a little bit of Facebook, some B2B on LinkedIn. Cool, good
Awesome.
stuff. A
There you
decent
go.
balance all around town here.
So let's go and take a look at kind of each one of these platforms and go through some of the high level insights into them so you can help decide where you want to be if you're not sure yet. Maybe some of the people on the call here haven't started up with social yet or are looking to refine. So Facebook is definitely a great one to start with. I don't think I have ever, or almost never, not recommended, double negative, not recommended that a business be on Facebook. I kind of call it the new yellow pages of 2020. It's a really big legitimacy tool, and people go to search for your business on Facebook. They use it to figure out what hours you're open. They use it to read reviews. They use it to ask questions. There's a ton of things happening on Facebook. Really, really large reach here. It's great for a variety of different business types, and it's easy to use, which is great as well. And then in addition, it's got really accessible and affordable advertising. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the presentation. So Facebook's an important one to pay attention to. Secondly, Instagram. So a couple things about Instagram that make it really great. First of all, one thing to pay attention to with Instagram is it's a mobile first platform. So while all of these platforms, a lot of the times people are accessing them online with on their devices, with Instagram, it's pretty much 100% of the time. It's not designed for desktop. So the reason that that's important is the content that you're designing needs to be, with mobile in consideration. Also be aware that the behavior that you're going to expect from this platform might be a little bit different. People might be less likely to purchase on Instagram. We certainly see that, especially big purchases, and or they might be less likely to visit websites. They kind of want to stay in app, which is fine. There's lots of great things you can still do with Instagram. It is amazing for relationship building. That's really where people start to connect with those brands. Great for behind the scenes story content. So again, sharing that sort of authentic experience of who your brand is. This is an awesome space to do this. And influencer marketing. Influencer marketing is incredibly powerful and is primarily focused in this platform. It also hits a bit of that younger demographic. So if you are trying to access, a little bit in those younger years, Instagram is definitely a great place to do it. Next up, LinkedIn. So I would call this the professional Facebook. This is going to be a really great spot for B2B, a great spot for recruiting for sure. And this has a ton of power for personal brands as well. So business pages, absolutely, you can do that, but there's a lot of opportunity in making connections and sharing thought leadership through your personal LinkedIn network in addition. Another great little sort of tidbit or tip here is obviously it's mostly business focused content on this platform, and that's fine. That's kind of the spot to go for it. But if you happen to interject a little bit of that sort of more lighthearted, inspirational team photos, that type of content, people respond to it really well here because it kind of breaks up their feed and it's kind of a nice, oh, sorry, my dog, a nice option for them. So just a little small tip there. Twitter. So Twitter, I would say, has kind of decreased in popularity overall since conception, although politics has definitely been keeping it alive. So it's a great spot for sharing news and information like that. I would say it's also still relevant for B2B brands or for customer service. It's definitely a spot that people will go to reach out in that way. So some things to consider there. Another place that I see it still be relevant is events. So obviously with 2020, we haven't really seen conferences the way that they used to look. But when we do have conferences, they often have an event hashtag or an event account, and people are sharing information around that. So that's another reason to kind of take a peek into Twitter and see if it makes sense for your business if that's something that you participate in. Pinterest. Pinterest is growing in popularity, and it's not a platform that people think about all the time off the bat. But one interesting stat around Pinterest is 47% of pinners actually log into Pinterest specifically to shop. It's nearly 4 times more effective at generating sales than other social platforms. So definitely something to consider. Another thing with Pinterest is a lot of people think, when they think of Pinterest, they think of like wedding planning or moms or women. I can't remember the stat exactly, but I want to say about 30 to 40% of pinners are actually men. So, don't necessarily write it off if that's not your audience. It's definitely something worth looking into. And there's a ton more out there. There's more than even these 3, TikTok, Snapchat, and YouTube. And there will be more in the future. That is the thing with social media. It is ever changing. The minute you think you're an expert, there's a new platform, we got to investigate and figure out how it works and who it's for. The reason that we don't tend to work in these platforms as much with clients is they do require you to be usually have someone in-house or someone that's creating a lot of video content for you. So if we have that with a client, amazing. These are great places to look at and invest. If we don't, sometimes they're ones that we don't pay as much attention to, but they still have a lot of power. So think about them for your organization for sure. Bottom line here, again, you don't need to be everywhere. Don't get overwhelmed. I always say to brands, maybe start with 2-ish platforms, 2 to 3, and kind of see how it goes. So I'd love to just take a quick pause here and ask a question to everybody. Which platform do you think at this point is the biggest opportunity for you? Could be somewhere that you already are investing, or it could be somewhere that is a little bit new, you know, since we've kind of gone through this, or somewhere that you're interested in.
You can use the questions or the chat to answer the question, please.
Interesting. Pinterest is something that's interesting to people. Yeah, it's a little bit surprising for sure, like I said.
Facebook. Everybody wants Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook makes a ton of sense for sure. I'm not surprised there.
Oh, Sandra says B2B with LinkedIn.
Okay, yeah, that's great for B2B for sure, Sandra. All right, so once you have strategically selected those platforms, next step, you need to get people to follow you there. So here are a few ways that you can encourage that. Include links on your website. It is shocking to me how many times I go take a look at a website and I'm trying to find the links to their social networks and they're either broken or really hard to find. Don't bury them in the footer. Like, social media is somewhere that people want to connect with you now. And if they do, you maintain them as a captive audience. So it's really, really important to do that. I always say try and have them right up at the top in the header, showing up on every page if possible. You can take it a step further as well if you're using something like Instagram and integrate your feed stream into your website. If you're putting all of this content, or all this effort, I should say, into building beautiful content that aligns with your brand and tells a story, why not have that flow right directly through to your website so people have that experience there?
Just a quick tip on that one. Be careful on your, like, how many feeds you put on your website, because it will impact performance. So like Tessa said, focus strategically on that #1 social channel, put your bandwidth there.
Totally agree. Good point, for sure. Next up, include links in your signatures. Email signatures should always have that. So again, every time you send an email communication, people are encouraged to click that link and follow you, and you've got their attention. Invite your friends list. So this is not always relevant, but you know, a lot of the times when you start up a new, for example, Facebook page, you can actually go through and invite all of the people that you're friends with to like this Facebook page. We often have our clients do it. We usually do it within our own networks for our clients, and that drives a ton of people right off the bat. Some people will say, yeah, but my friends list aren't the people that I want to do business with. Totally get that. So again, it won't always be relevant. However, who's to say that they wouldn't follow your page, learn more about what you're doing, and then, you know, a week later in a conversation with someone else, this topic comes up and they say, oh, I know exactly who to connect you with. You know, it's the 6 degrees of separation that we want to think about here. And it's really easy to do. Ask. So again, tell people what you want them to. If you have an email list and you haven't really invested in social yet, have you sent them a message to say, hey, PS, this is where we're hanging out on social. You can connect with us there and have a 2-way conversation and build a relationship. That's a simple and easy way to drive some more followers. Ask in person. I've seen this lots at restaurants, actually, where you sit at a table and they have a little sign there that says, while you're eating, you know, share some food photos and tag us here. Follow us on Instagram. Be entered to win. Utilize paid ads. So definitely there's a lot of power in audience building when it comes to paid strategies, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. You can also do some manual searching. So we always spend some time with our clients' accounts doing this as well, getting out there and engaging with other people so that they become aware of you that way. You can search location-based or follow relevant hashtags and find people that way. And lastly, contests. So again, this contest blog that we shared is going to be really powerful for you here and walks you through kind of how to do that. But there's lots of ways you can do it with partnerships or without, and drive new followers and new engagement by giving something away that doesn't necessarily have to cost you a fortune. So another really powerful tool. Once you have got all those followers, next step, you need to turn it back to those 3 goals and figure out what to do. So here are some of the things that you can do to drive awareness. Hashtag strategy. So this is really great for discoverability. You can mix some popular hashtags with some less popular hashtags that people might be searching. Ultimately, with hashtags, you need to be experimenting a lot of the time, make sure it's relevant to the content that you're sharing, and always be looking back in analytics to see what is getting you found the most, and use more of that. Secondly, share content and tag others. So if you're using a user-generated content strategy and sharing something that someone else created, make sure that you're tagging them. If you're sharing a blog that aligns with the messaging that you want to promote for your brand, but you didn't write it, tag the person that did, or that's mentioned in it, and then all that does is drive more engagement back to your post. They're more likely to engage, even share it, and help you build your audience there. Influencers, so again, primarily focused on Instagram, but there's definitely some other platforms where this works as well. Partnering with influencers who are already, have a really great following, aligned with your target market is awesome. Sometimes it's paid, sometimes you can do a service or a product exchange, and that works that way too. But it's a very, very powerful way to promote your brand via social media. Run joint giveaways. So again, we kind of talked about giveaways. If you're looking to build your audience from scratch, look to partner with another brand that would have the same target market to you, and see if you guys can go in together on a joint giveaway, because then you each get to access each other's audiences, and so it's kind of a win-win for everyone. It's also a little bit more cost effective if you both go in on the prize together. And then lastly, run some ads to target new top of funnel leads. So we always have a page likes campaign running for our clients to make sure that we're bringing in new leads at all times. And there's varying different ways you can do that on the other platforms as well. So here are some of the things you can do to address customer service and to make it easier for you. Turn on automatic messages. So this is something that so many clients don't have set up, and it's such a great hack. So pay attention to this if this is something that you struggle with. Particularly, we're talking about Facebook here. So on Facebook, you can actually go in. If you get a lot of questions that are the same, what hours are you open? Or can I request a catalog? Things like that you really don't need a live person to be answering, and you can kind of predict. Go in and auto program them in. So when people land on your page there, it'll pop up, it'll prompt them to ask the question, and then they can get their answer nice and quick, and it doesn't take any time away from your team. So that's a really great hack there. In addition, use an app to help you manage it. All of the social networks have really great mobile apps that you can keep right on your phone here. And that way, if you're on the go or it's outside of office hours or anything like that, and someone has a question, you can answer it right from your phone, and you don't have to leave them waiting. As I mentioned there, responding quickly, the quicker the better is really important. Think about if you're a customer and you're on the checkout page and you're ready to make a purchase, but you have a question, you send it through to Facebook, and then you wait. You don't hear back for 48 hours. You might have moved on by then. You might have purchased from a competitor by then. So the quicker, the better, definitely, particularly if you're e-commerce, but really at any point in time. Another kind of tip here as well is if you're not getting a ton of notifications or comments and engagements, that kind of a thing, or you're handling this yourself and you're just not in the habit of logging in daily to your social networks to check for the stuff, you can turn on notifications. You can actually have it set up so that the social networks will email you when there is something for you to jump in and respond to. So that's a really good tip for anyone that's kind of in that position. And then the other thing I'd say is respond proactively. So don't, if someone comments and it doesn't necessarily need a response, it's not a question, respond anyway. This is relationship building. It's social media. You need to be social. So something to really think about there that kind of gets missed a lot of the time. Ultimately here, my big message with customer service is ensure someone is in charge of this. We heard those stats in the beginning. This is often the first point of contact people have with your business. Do not miss these opportunities. Whether it's an agency like us or someone internal, make sure it's handled. And then here's some ways to elicit action. So at the end of the day, this is what we want. Whether that's getting some information from your followers or nurturing that relationship, ask questions in your copy. That definitely helps. Maybe you want to get them to click through to a website, and we'll talk a bit more about that when Brandon comes on. Make those links really easy to find for them. You gotta make it simple for people, for sure. There's a lot of noise out there. Promotions and incentives. This has been an age-old marketing tactic that's been around for a long time, still very relevant here, and definitely works on social. Give them a reason, give them a time limit, give them a discount, things like that definitely help. And lastly, use paid. You can do such great things with paid ads these days, conversion ads specifically, and get a ton of data. So good segue there on paid. Social media has changed. Years ago when I started this business, just over 6 years ago now, it was organic only or mostly organic at that point in time. And now today, we won't work with a client without a guaranteed ad budget because it's just too hard to be successful. It's definitely something that you need to get comfortable with including. Paid ads ultimately are these social networks' way of making money. You got to pay to play. So Great thing about ads though is they're quite cost effective. It does not have to cost you a fortune to make an impact here. I promise. We have some clients, who have really big ad budgets, 5,000 and up. We have other clients who are spending like $200 a month. It doesn't have to cost a ton, but you do need to be doing it. And the other thing of note here is Facebook ads, or I shouldn't say just Facebook, but social media advertising can be a little bit tricky and intimidating at first. It definitely takes some time to get good at and some time to learn. So whoever you have running these, just make sure that they are the right person and they definitely know how to make the most impact with it. So let's just pause for a quick question here as well. I'd be curious to know, of the attendees we have today, how many of you are running social media ads currently?
What you guys can do is just simply raise your hand if you are running social media. It's the easiest way to give a response. Social media ads. Are you advertising on social?
Oh, I see some hands up there. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, definitely some, but it looks like the majority of you are not. So I would say that I hope that's the biggest takeaway from today is, really pay attention to paid and take a look at what it can do for your business. And if you don't have the skills in-house, reach out. Let's have a conversation about it because it definitely can help move the needle. So getting into paid, this is a really simple sort of 3-step approach if you are going to be building it in-house. First thing you want to do is target the right people. So you don't want to be showing your ads to just everyone. You want to show them to the target market that you're after. That's more than likely to convert. There are a ton of parameters that you can use to narrow this down really effectively. Like really specific keywords, which is really amazing. Each brand is going to be a little bit different, so make sure that you're really clear and as cost effective as possible when you're building this. So thinking about demographics for sure, age, gender, all that kind of thing. Where are they based? You don't want to be serving ads to a market that you can't serve ultimately. Behavior, so it could be what platform that they're on, it could be placements, like there's so many parameters. We could talk about this forever. And interest as well. That's another great way to target. So you'll have a lot of this information about your business obviously up front, and you can kind of put those keywords in and start targeting them and see what's working the best for you. In addition to that, beyond keyword targeting, there are some really powerful custom audiences that you can set up, can and should set up for sure. So a couple ones there are website traffic, number one. So you're driving people to your website through multiple different ways. And those people have expressed some interest in your brand or business. You need to be retargeting ads to them. Definitely want to be capturing that. People that have engaged with you previously on social media, it'll allow you to capture that audience and again, start serving them ads. You should definitely upload any subscriber lists you have or a customer list as well. These are all of your mid-funnel leads. So these leads have expressed some interest in your business previously. They have some awareness already. You don't need to start with like a generic intro. You can get a little bit closer to the point here, and they're more likely to convert for you. In addition to that, we have lookalike audiences. So not everybody knows about lookalike audiences, but they're such a great tool to use. Now that you've uploaded all of these custom audiences of actually true leads that have expressed interest in your business, you don't need to worry about trying to figure out where they're located, what their age or gender is, or what their interests are. Simply tell, Facebook or whatever social network you're using, find me more people like these. Use their AI as opposed to going through it and trying to guess the best you can yourself. I always lean on this, and oftentimes we'll have exceptional performance with these lookalike audiences. Step 2, design your ad. Got to create some content. So I could honestly run at least a full 1-hour webinar on this step altogether. So we'll keep this really high level today, but really speak to the pain points, think about what you're trying to accomplish here. Make sure you give enough information, but not too much. Try different styles. We always have multiple versions of creative that we're testing and trying at all times. You want to include some compelling creative. So ideally video tends to work really well, or some great photos or digital content that way. And make sure you have a really strong call to action. So again, what do you want them to do? Tell them to do it. Lastly, most importantly, you cannot set it and forget it when we're talking about paid here. You need to be measuring so that you can iterate. And I talked about that a little bit just before. We turn off creative that isn't performing as well. So you want to keep an eye on all these things. What is your cost per result? Is it getting too high? There might be certain campaigns that are running where your bottom line is no longer protected. Turn that off. There might be your campaign's doing okay, but certain audiences are performing but costing you a fortune. Turn them off. Or alternatively, implement a bid cap. There's different ways that you can do that as well. You'll be able to figure out what top performing content is, which helps drive your organic strategy as well. You'll be able to figure out what your benchmarks are, because they do vary a little bit, client to client for sure. And most importantly, what is your return on ad spend? It's complicated for sure. It's definitely a little bit complex, but it's one of the most important things that you will do to move the needle on social media. And that's all I got, you guys. I'm going to turn it over to Brandon. So like I said, he's going to talk about kind of the next step of all of this. And like I said, if anyone has any questions, flip them to me in chat or connect with me after, and we will get them answered.
You rocked it, Tessa. That's great. Thank you so much for getting us all primed into the realm of social media. Okay, so to finish up the presentation, it's going to be myself and Jordan, and we're going to talk about website engagements and basically what happens when you get website traffic. You know, you've got to figure out creative strategies on how to convert this traffic into tangible and measurable results. So it's Brandon again. I've done lots of webinars in the past, and we're really here to educate you, to inspire you so that you can really dive deeper into digital and get the results that you're looking for. You know, I've been around for a long time, and I've just within that career, my journey, I can see the evolution of the importance of digital for businesses, and today especially more than ever. So website engagements are those meaningful actions that matter towards your digital marketing goals. And we were asking a bunch of questions. All of you guys need to start asking more questions, because I don't think any one of us here is the absolute expert in everything digital. So feel free to ask us questions as we progress along and go throughout this, because it's engagement and it helps everybody. Some examples of these engagements are a live chat session. I'd love to know, just out of a raise of hands, how many of you either in the last week was on a live chat session or even use live chat for your own website? You can just raise your hand, let me know if you're using live chat. I mean, this is something we pretty much do every day in our company, because we have hundreds of products and support partnerships. So we're always using live chat. Yeah, lots of you. So that's going to continue to increase, especially for retail. This digitalization, virtualization that's taking place, we're helping a lot of clients pivot during these times, and it's really critical to implement those types of engagements. Live appointment booking, that's been around for a very long time, and I know that when I first started with that, I literally doubled the revenue in my business by simply removing the confusion around how to book me. And like, just to give you an example, I'm going to give you a link right now. Go book me. You want a free consult? Go ahead. There's my link. It'll go right to my live calendar. You can pick a slot, 20 minutes, have fun. It's a Zoom sesh, and away we go. Lots of other examples here: phone calls, button clicks, contact forms, email opt-ins, video views, direction requests is a pretty big one, and obviously e-commerce sales. So those are some examples of what engagements are, meaningful actions. We're going to show you some of those examples again. And these are our partner sites. We are partners and certified partners with LiveChat and Visita. We're published by them. We've done co-events with them. They're very, very well-established businesses. This is an example of a live chat tool. And I'll tell you something, it doesn't matter what business you're in. There's an opportunity for every single type of company on this planet to take advantage of this platform. And you can't make assumptions. We have had enormous success with our live chat from both a customer service perspective, which is what Tessa was mentioning before, as well as just sales and people inquiring. You know, we do a lot of our own marketing, and when we get traffic to the site, we need someone there to make sure that they can be readily available to serve. And then here's what you get to see on the back end. This is what, if you get this tool, Jordan's giving out free trial links. Have fun with it. It's a great product. You'll see that you have this whole list of everybody, and then you have on the right, it shows you like how many times have they been to your website, if they've initiated a chat before, what source did they come from. And Jordan will dive deeper on that in just a bit. But it's really critical, because you can kind of get an idea of like, who are your actual customers? What's their audience? We connect our live chat tool automatically to our CRM. So when we get an incoming request and it becomes a lead or a service request, then we just add that into our CRM, and now we've just saved ourselves a lot of time. So that's a little bit more about live chat. Super awesome tool. Next level from live chat would be like doing the bots and adding that bot to your website where people ask questions and then it automatically responds. We're not going to talk about that today. We're much more around that human touch. I think that's really vital and critical to businesses. VCTA, again, this is an example from one of our Benjamin Moore clients who, prior to us, they had zero digital. Now they're crushing it on all fronts. We do integrated marketing. I didn't mention this, but we did win the award for best integrated marketing campaign, and we beat out 10,000 competitors. It was a really fun experience. And with Benjamin Moore, they're one store location, and we implemented this technology, and now people are doing Zoom sessions, Zoom consults, design consultations, in-person store consults to start and plan their project, and it really helps their sales team, as well as existing clients who are on a project, to continue to stay organized, focused throughout that process. But again, these are engagement tools to help amp it up. So here's an example of what it looks like. Just showing you to give you a visual of what these engagements really are on the functional side of it. So you pick your person, you pick your time slot. I'm sure many of you have already done that. And this is also something, another type of an engagement. This is called personalization. So personalization is something that is relatively new to small businesses. Larger corporations like Amazon, they utilize this technology. It's only found on about 20 to 30% of websites because of its extensive resource that it requires. It's very expensive to do this. One of our clients is Dirty Laundry Vineyard. We love working with them. And what this is basically a website pop-up that automatically appears based on triggers. And so we can pre-establish in advance on the website as a personalization based on what kind of device are you on. So are you on a tablet? Are you on a mobile? Or are you on a desktop? So for example, if they're on a mobile device, then I can change this to be something like call us or find us, because you can make the assumption that they're in a car or on the road, or that they're easily able to make that phone call. So we can pre-create in advance based on the behavior of what the device is, the time of day, their location, the number of visits to the site, or even a campaign URL. So if you're doing some Facebook ads and you want to maintain really clear and consistent messaging and user experiences across Facebook to your website, we can bind that, close the gap, create a personalization, and really cleanly make that transition for them. Because when people leave social and they come to your website, it's like a new world for them. So they don't necessarily know your website. So it'd be great to make those consistencies happen. So that's an example of personalization. Here's another one. When anybody lands on our website and goes to our website page for website packages, we're at total war with WordPress because we can't stand that platform. It's more of a headache than it is anything else, and I can happily talk to the developer of it because I've been in the space for 25 years. I used to use WordPress, but until we ran into a problem with it, many of our clients got hacked, and many other clients get hacked all the time. We'd rather spend your precious small biz marketing dollars on actual marketing performance. So we don't use WordPress anymore, and we use personalization to get people to switch away from it. So that's an example again of personalization. We love using this, and it's just a fantastic way to engage your audience when you get that website traffic, because you're working really hard to do it. Why not do the best you can to create a conversion? Here's another last and final example of personalization. This is all part of our MAP website platform. And you can see here there's a notification bar. Many of our clients were originally using that when COVID started to quickly inform clients that, we are open, here's our COVID policy. In this situation, we have a wine store in Naples, Florida. Bruce is a phenomenal leader in the space. We love working with Bruce. And they also have the live chat installed. So they're doing a really good job of pivoting their business. They have a brick and mortar retail store, but now they have an online e-com store that we set up for them along with their website and the live chat and also the personalization. So they're just crushing it, no pun intended, grapes, and they're having a good time. So that's some examples that I wanted to share with you. And now I'm going to pass this over to Jordan. I'll just continue presenting my screen and you just give me the cue to get to the next slide. Okay, buddy?
Will do. Sounds good. Thanks so much, Brandon. That was very well done. Thank you for taking us through all those different types of engagement. I hope you guys all learned a little something there. We've got tons of links in the chat. Don't forget to take a look at the chat there and see what we're talking about in real time have a chance to play with the trials on live chat in Visita. Book us through the links that we provided there, and you can get a real-time, real-world feeling of how online scheduling can make your business so much better. But with regards to our presentation here, once you have a social media strategy up and running and you also have website engagements attached to your website, you're going to want to know how those things are actually driving forward your business. And the first thing you need to know is your channels of traffic. So the number one platform that we generally use for website traffic recording is Google Analytics. Who here, I'm going to throw this out there, who here, raise your hand, currently uses Google Analytics to track traffic to their website? Just let us know. It's free software. It's fantastic. If you don't have it, you got to get it. All right, perfect. We're seeing some hands raised there. Thank you. Okay. So it seems like a decent chunk of you are currently using Google Analytics. That's the first step. For those that are not, definitely go out there and grab a Google Analytics tracking tag and get it on your website, because you're going to get so much valuable data, you won't even know what to do with it. And that's part of my function here at Conscious Commerce. I'm not only a market agency partner, but I really dive into the data with you in sort of a data analyst or consulting role, where we'll look at reports inside of Google Analytics or whatever type of analytics tracking tool you currently use to get an idea of where this traffic is coming from. So I mentioned channels already. Here's a screenshot from one of our clients here and the different channels that drive traffic to their website. One of the first channels is direct, which represents 38% of their traffic. And direct can be anybody that goes directly to your website. There's no middleman, there's no link in between. Or perhaps if Google isn't sure of where this direct traffic is coming from, or traffic is coming from, they'll put it in the direct bucket. Or in many situations nowadays, because there are so many different ways to get visibility out there, if you have a really great social media campaign going and you're really focusing on brand awareness, well, then that brand might stick in your customers' minds before they're even a customer, and they might go directly to your website anyways. So we always take a look at as direct traffic as being brand representation. How strong is your brand out there? Next, we have social media. This is the second largest driver of traffic for this website. 25% of the users to their site are getting there through social media channels, followed by email marketing, organic search, referral. Other are unknowns, or people that might be hiding their location via VPN or just masking where they're located. And then we have paid search down there at the bottom in number 7. They're not focusing tremendously on paid search at the current moment, so they don't have a ton of traffic there. But once you get a great handle on your channels, then you move on and you start to understand your goals. When it comes to your strategies, any digital strategy, your goals in tracking your engagement is extremely important. And Google Analytics does a great job for this as well, where they enable you to set up either event or goal tracking. There's 2 different ways to do it. This is something that we help all of our clients out with. No matter what, it is extremely important to know where your marketing dollars are going and how that's coming back to you, your ROI, or maybe your return on ad spend, ROAS, as people say. So with this particular client here, we're using event goal tracking. We have a variety of different ways that we're tracking success for them. I believe this is actually Dirty Laundry as well, one of our favorite clients. Their number 1 event goal here is button clicks. So we have goals set up for their buttons on very important buttons, by the way, that we know that are going to drive customers down that sales funnel or ultimately get them to what we want them to do on the website. As Tessa mentioned earlier, you have to tell people what to do. If you're not having direct call to actions in your messaging, you're missing out on opportunities. The second event that we're tracking here is e-commerce. This client has an online store, so we're able to see how many transactions are coming through the website, and we relate that back to the channel that you drove them there with. So let's say, for example, you're running a fantastic Facebook campaign, you drive some people back to your website, you engage with them via live chat, they then book you maybe on Visita, or they end up going to your store and buying something. We can track that entire user path, so then we can tell you that X amount that you spent on that initial Facebook campaign ended up generating you X amount in ROI. We also track things like club signups via contact forms. We have sidebar links that we can take a look at to, again, get an understanding of how your users are actually interacting with your website and engaging with you in a full capacity. It's nice to have a full idea or full range or scope of understanding how people are interacting with your website. In most situations, your website is acting as your digital salesperson. We need that digital salesperson in your website to be the best of the best, so that we can convert all of those new traffic visitors that you're getting to your site. And we have an example here showing from Dirty Laundry, actually a success story that we recently published on our website. This client here has just exploded in the past year, and we all know what's going on in our economic situation, and a lot of people are moving to an online-based marketing strategy rather than spending those dollars where you typically would on, say, events and things like that. We're seeing a serious shift going to digital, and Dirty Laundry has taken advantage of this shift with us, and we're actually able to drive them 379% increase in website sales year over year, guys. That is absolutely massive. It's very impressive. They're extremely ecstatic. Even through this global pandemic that we're capitalizing on the traffic that we are pushing to the website via those engagements. We have social media strategies going, a little paid social media strategy going, SEO, SEM, all of those things combined can make an integrated digital marketing strategy, and enables clients like this to receive a 379% increase in website sales. I'm sure all of you here would be thrilled to have that in your back pocket when you go into your next board meeting. Now, we all clicked the link and joined this webinar because we said we had a simple recipe. So here it is. Here's your simple recipe for success, guys. We have ingredients which are based off of our social media strategy. We have our website engagement strategy, and we have a clear idea of our digital marketing goals. We take those three ingredients, we move them over into our how-to section here. We create those social media accounts, get those nice and warmed up via your audience targeting, and get people starting to become aware of what you're trying to do with your brand or with your promotions, whatever it might be. We then prep your website with those on-site engagements. Live chat, real-time chat sessions is extremely important these days. I think Brandon mentioned earlier that I don't think anybody in this whole webinar hasn't come into contact with a live chat technology in the last month or so. We got VCETA, our live appointment scheduler, and site triggers, those personalizations that help make that experience more customized for everybody that comes to your website. We bake all those things together, and you're going to enjoy the spoils of a well-structured digital marketing strategy using social media to get people to your website, and you convert them with website engagements, guys. If anything you take away from this webinar, screenshot this one.
Cool. Thank you, Jordan. So
that was awesome.
Let's do a quick little sales pitch for all of you awesome attendees. Nothing crazy, like I said, but we'd like to at least offer our free consulting services. So Tessa, why don't you let us know about what your offer is today?
For sure. So one of the first steps that we love to take for whether they're a potential client or if it's something that you want to keep in-house is we offer a free social media audit. So that's what we're going to offer to everybody here today. If you want us to pop in there and take a look at what you're doing, what's working well, maybe some areas and opportunities to improve, we're happy to do that for you. There's a link there that you can go online and order that, or just ping me directly. I'm also going to include a call with me as part of that today as a little bit of a bonus offer. So not only will you get this document with it all put together, but we're actually going to sit down together and go through it, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. And if it makes sense to talk about working together and how we can partner and improve, we can do that then as well. In addition, we are raising our rates in 2021. We haven't done it yet really since we've been since we started, so it's definitely time for us and it's exciting. But what I am going to offer is to anyone here today, we will lock in 2020 rates for you if you decide we are someone that you want to work with. So even if it takes us a couple months to set up and onboard you, you've got those rates guaranteed. So get in contact with me if this sounds interesting. We'll start the conversation, you can put together a custom proposal and figure out what's the best fit for you.
That's
Awesome.
awesome. Thanks, Tessa. Really, really happy for you too. That's really good. It's a challenge for any small business owner to raise their rates. You're always afraid, am I going to lose clients? But you're in a great place, where you can vet your clients.
Yeah,
All
for
right,
sure.
Jordan, do you want to talk about our promotion?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. So everybody here is extremely valuable to us, and we appreciate your time and coming and listening. And hopefully, you got some great tips and strategy out of the webinar itself. If you want to take that to the next level, though, you're going to want to set up a one-on-one session with Brandon and myself. We're going to do a complimentary digital marketing review. This can range from a website review to your online engagements to your SEO strategies, whatever you like to talk about. We're here to give you our knowledge and help you excel as a digital marketer. We've got links all through the chat, or you can click our book here link as well. And that's going to be one of the most valuable things that you can do with your time. I can almost guarantee it. And our second promotion, we don't do this too often. We've got a second promotion going on, which is our engagement setup webinar promotion. We'll basically set up 2 pieces of engagement software for you on your website for the price of 1. You can activate this promo by emailing cc@cc94.com. This will save you anywhere between $250 to $750. So it's a fantastic promotion. We just really want to see people succeed online. So we're willing to give our knowledge for free, and we're willing to do setups at half the price. You can't lose.
Awesome. So I think everybody has all of our contact info. There may be some follow-up that take place. If you do want to take advantage of any of this, go for it. Now it's your time to just ask questions. We're not opening up the phone lines. We're just going to leave it all like chat, digital. But ask us. Not a single person here really came forward with anything to test our knowledge. I mean, are you all crushing it in digital? Are you getting these kinds of numbers? Like, talk to us. We're here for you. We got a few minutes. We actually finished early, which is amazing. So we've got time now to handle some of these questions. I might want to do one of these presentations with you, Tessa.
Yeah, for sure. I can't believe I was able to keep it on time. I was really nervous about that fact, but yeah, no, success.
Hey, looks like we got a question for you, Tessa. Karma wants to know how to increase Instagram followers without necessarily running a contest.
Ooh, good question. One of the things that is a little bit challenging with Instagram is, even though they're owned by Facebook, and this is still a little bit confusing to me as to why they've made this decision, Facebook will allow you to run a page likes campaign. So it's really easy, or easy to set that up and start driving followers there. Instagram, they don't allow you to do that. It's a little bit more challenging. So there's a couple different things you could do. Obviously, the contest being one of them, but outside of that, I would say spend some time, I did kind of mention this, but spend some time on your account engaging with other people. In particular on Instagram, this is true for all platforms, but in particular on Instagram, you really need to be nurturing those relationships. It definitely is a two-way street. If you are just trying to blast content at people and sell to them and are not interested in, commenting on or engaging with their content, it's not going to work for you. You definitely have to spend that time. So that's something that we always work into the efforts that we do for our clients is, your brand experience manager will go in as your brand and start to engage with people that are either already following you, or in this case, people that might be a fit for your target market and might be interested in following you. We do a ton of it, and it definitely helps bring in new people, and they just have a really good kind of warm feeling about you after you've already kind of made the effort for them. So I think that's one way. The only other thing I would suggest around paid is you can definitely run paid campaigns to drive engagements. That's not necessarily going to directly impact your followers, but oftentimes if people start to engage with the post, they're, become aware of you for the first time, they might be more likely to follow you. So not quite as clear cut as a page likes campaign, but there's a couple things that you can definitely do to help with that. Good question.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Tessa. We're getting a bunch of questions in here, Brandon. I'll ask a couple of these. We actually got a question for you, Brandon. Sandra wants to know, why did you migrate away from WordPress?
Yeah, no, thanks for asking that. Listen, guys, WordPress is not free. I built 5,000 computers. So you're talking to literally Mr. Digital. I've been digital since 1999. And what I want you to understand is that when a webmaster comes up to you and says, oh, I'll get you a website, and they'll charge you $10, $15, $20, $30,000, they're using software and they're using a developer to build your website. That will get hacked. I can hack your WordPress site in 30 seconds, no problem, easy. And it's because it's open source software. So our small business clients, I don't have time for this. I have to make sure that your ROI, like I lose sleep at night when you don't make money. I have more of a war with ROI than you do. So WordPress is slow, sluggish. It's got tons of bugs in it, holes. It has security problems. And if you notice, when you go check out WordPress and it says, oh, guess what? There's a new update for you. It's not a marketing update. It's a security update because they're constantly trying to figure out how to fix themselves. Our website platform every single day has a new marketing update, something that's actually relevant to your ROI. So we pivoted 10 years ago, and since then, all of our clients are in love with our platform. I just trained somebody on it on how to edit their site themselves in 15 minutes, and it's amazing. And so I've switched for 100 reasons. There's no plugins to update. There's no expensive developers. I don't want my clients bugging us. If they can make a quick edit and update themselves, do it yourself. I got other things to do. I'm doing the heavy lifting for you, like SEO and managing your campaigns. Like I can go on all day like this. But that's partially the reason why we got rid of it. It's expensive, it's a liability, it's a problem, and I'm happy to battle any developer on earth to go against WordPress. There's my answer.
You guys can feel how strongly Brandon feels on that one. A couple of questions here, guys. We're running out of time, so we might not have to get all of them. Apologies for that. Please don't hesitate to reach out directly to us for any further questions. I like this one here from Pam. This one's for Tessa. What's the best platform for B2B, and how do you easily move friends from personal Facebook to a business account?
How do you easily move friends? So as in, how do you get people to like your Facebook page, invite your friends to like your Facebook page?
I think so. How to shift your friends from their personal side to more to your business side.
Right, okay. So first question, kind of two parts there. First question, best platform for B2B, I would probably say is LinkedIn. The steps that we always take, however, when I'm making recommendations is I will do a little bit of competitive research into each and every brand, because B2B and B2C are still pretty general ideas and concepts. So every industry might be a little bit different. So what I would do in that case is, talk to you and say, name a couple different competitors, or they don't even have to be direct competitors, just people in your space. And we do this really quick competitive snapshot, take a look at how many followers they've got, what platforms they're on, and you can see really easily where the trends are in the industry. So that helps us make decisions. Who knows, maybe your B2B brand needs to be on Pinterest. Maybe less likely, I would say, based on the work that, the time I've been in the industry, I see that a lot less, but yeah, so short answer, probably LinkedIn. Facebook, I would say probably for sure, maybe Twitter. But again, I'd really love to follow up with me after. Let's take a look at what your brand actually does, and we can get you a more refined answer there. And then the second piece is, how do you invite friends to like your Facebook page? So it is really simple. It used to be incredibly tedious. We used to have to do it one by one. So I would always pour myself a glass of wine and sit down for an hour and do it. Dirty laundry wine, of course. But these days they've made it so much simpler. There's some limits in place now. That's the only thing. So you can't just blast your entire friend list at the same time, or it won't hit all of them in my case anyway. But when you go to your Facebook page, you click the three dots where it is to share, or the arrow, I think it is. And there's a drop down on ways to share. At the bottom, if you're a page admin, at the bottom it says invite friends. Click it, it opens up a list of your friends. You can click select all, or you can actually pull different groups. So I just did one for a client that was based in Calgary, and I have a couple different groups that I'm a part of on Facebook that are all Calgary location based. So I went through and invited the people from those groups to like that page, and I think we got 200 followers in a day. It was pretty crazy. So yeah, it's pretty simple. Have a quick Google if you still aren't sure where to find it, or ping me after and I can show you. Send a quick screenshot.
That's great, Tessa. Thanks for giving such detailed answers. And by the way, with Facebook, that's your one free chance that you get to market to your people. So take advantage of that. And then when you got that following, it's okay, now you got to start spending some money on advertising to really do what it was intended to do.
Totally. LinkedIn, just a quick addition side, I know we're out of time here, but LinkedIn just rolled out in the last, I think, 2 weeks or so. They've been playing with it for a while in testing, but they just rolled out the same kind of ability to do that. It looks a little bit different. They give you 100 credits, and you can invite 100 people to like your page. but you only get that credit back if the person actually follows through and likes it. So the reason they're doing that is they don't want you to just spam a bunch of people. They're forcing you to spend a bit more time and go through and figure out who you're inviting and make sure they're people that you're pretty confident are going to follow through, because that's how you get more credits back to keep doing it. So another little recent addition.
Yeah, LinkedIn's super pricey to do paid on there.
Yes, we're doing a campaign today. It's very expensive.
Looks like we got time for one more question here from Michelle. So if you're just starting in on social media engagement, what is your advice for a beginner to start and get a better understanding for social media outreach, graphics, specific types of audience? That's like a phone call. Michelle, and I know Michelle, you're a new client of ours. So I can make an introduction. I haven't met you yet, but I've been working with Jeff. And yeah, I think you should just talk with Tessa on that one, because that there's a few directions and paths you can take.
If you put it in a nutshell though, Tessa, what would you do if you're a beginner? Like, what's the first thing that you do if you're just trying to get into the social media market here?
Listen to the presentation.
Yeah, totally. There's a ton. I mean, this is a perfect example. There are a ton of resources available online. You know, we are constantly learning new things. We use Slack for our team, and we have a channel called Things That Make Us Smarter. And we, multiple times a day, we're like, hey, guess what? They just changed the algorithm again. Hey, guess what? There's this new hack that we found, whatever. So there is a ton of information out there. Skillshare has a lot of opportunities as well if you're looking to do stuff in-house. Secondly, if you want to learn it yourself, you want to do it internally, you don't want to look for an agency option or something like that, you could still look to an agency like ours to do a strategy. So we do this for some clients who are like, you know what, we really want to keep it in-house, but we have no idea where to start. We want to borrow your expertise for that. So we'll build a custom strategy for them that they can then walk through and execute in-house. So that might be a good option for you, Michelle. But yeah, let's totally follow up after the call and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, and Michelle, we can send you a copy of the presentation because you are a client.
Awesome.
Okay, guys, I think we're going to wrap this up in respect of everyone's time. I really appreciate you all taking the opportunity to learn digital. Hopefully you absorbed and you got value out of this experience, and we'd love to engage you further. We're all here at your service to take advantage of that. So until next month, we'll see you again.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Brandon. Hopefully I'll be back one day.
We will. We'll do this again. This was great. I really appreciate that. Thanks, Tessa, and thank you, Jordan. I think everybody did a great job. So have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, you too.
Everybody.
Bye.
Bye now.